If you want to be a full-time content creator in the next 3 months, this is what I would do. I've been creating content for over 10 years, 4 in UGC, and I currently work as an influencer marketing manager, so I know what works and what doesn't. Most people focus on the wrong things, which is why they don't end up making money from it. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down step by step on how you're going to become a full-time content creator and how to actually turn this into a job. Start following these tips, you won't just be a content creator, you'll be getting paid from it too. First things first, before you pick up the camera, be clear on your goals. Why do you want to become a full-time content creator? What does this mean for you actually? Are you looking for extra income on the side, or are you wanting this to replace your current income? If your goal is simply just to post for fun and not having any strategy or thought behind it, you're not going to go that far in this industry. In terms of goal setting and having clear expectations, you're wanting to make it as a content creator. You want to be clear on who you're speaking to and why these people want to follow you. Because now in 2026, people don't care about aesthetic content anymore. Your content, this is rough, but it needs to provide value. We've been posting a lot of selfish content because I like this video, I'm going to post it. It doesn't work anymore. People follow you because you provide value, which is very important. How do you help your audience out? Do you create content that's entertaining or educational, or are you a relatable bigger sister? Making sure that you're clear on who you are and how you want to be perceived on the internet and why your target audience will find value in your content and want to follow you is very, very important. At the end of the day, if your content has no direction or no clear purpose, then people aren't going to want to follow you. And to put it bluntly, brands just simply don't care. The next step that I have for you today is all over the place on the internet. But as someone who's worked in influencer marketing and seeing what brands actually care about, pick a niche. I know people hate it. You hear it all the time. I personally think it's very important to pick a niche. Why? Let's go into that. After working on God knows how many campaigns now, probably over 100, I can say that brands don't just look for creators. They care about a specific type of creator. Depending on the campaign that they're running at the moment, they're generally looking for creators in a certain niche. One that I was working on recently, they were very big on creators in the music niche or creators that were in the outdoor niche. I know, two completely opposite agendas, but they were very clear and specific. Every time I work on a campaign and I source influencers, they're very clear with the type of creator that they want to work with. When I work with brands, they don't say, hey, I just want someone with 40 or 50,000 followers. I haven't seen this before after doing this for a few years now. They're generally saying, this is my brand, this is my product. These are the type of creators that I want to be associated with. Lifestyle creators are in the mix sometimes. Generally, they're looking for someone who focuses on skincare. Let's say they're a skincare brand, or they're looking for a fashion or foodie creator. Right now, I'm actually sourcing a lot of creators in Australia that are in the food industry. A lot of foodie blogs also do a lot of travel as well. They work quite well together. If your page was mainly lifestyle, but you haven't made it very clear what you're talking about in that niche, it makes it harder for brands to go, this is what she has to offer for us. And I know I didn't have a niche for my marketing agency or my content creator journey at the start. Even now, I don't have a niche, but let me tell you, this is as your older sister in content creation and marketing, please have a niche, especially when you're starting off. If I could go back in the past, I would definitely niche down. The reason why you want to niche down is because you grow so much quicker and you become recognizable within that niche. And because of that clarity within your content, brands are more willing to reach out to you. What I want you to do for this part is to think, what do I love doing? What do I consistently do? What value can I provide? It's not that deep. I know a lot of people get stuck here because they're like, oh, a niche has to be something I'm extremely passionate about. I'll go head over heels for this. No, it's not that deep. I have a Melbourne foodie page. I didn't mind creating content in that area. Just think about things in your daily life. Do you love skincare? Are you happy to document that? Then definitely go down that route. You can definitely pivot later and talk about more other things in the future, but right now you need direction. The next step that I want you to take is to choose your home base in terms of your platform. This is what I do for my clients. I generally get them to pick one main platform, so that's your hero platform, and then 2 supporting platforms. And I create content, the content I put the most effort into is my main platform, and then my supporting channels is pretty much going to repurpose that content. For your main platform, what I want you to do is pick a platform that is within your capacity, whether that's budget, money, or time-wise. For example, I would not choose YouTube as my main platform if I don't have the capacity to push out 1 to 2 long-form videos within a week, because that's a lot of time and energy. Have a look at the different platforms, see which one's best for you. TikTok is great, fast growth, it's good for testing. Generally, this app loves when you post quite consistently, even daily. What I noticed in my own personal channels is that the more regularly I posted, the better the platform treated me. And I really hate to say that because I generally like to tell my clients, you don't have to post every day. I do think that to a core, a lot of these platforms are kind of pushing us to do that. It's always important to post higher quality posts at a shorter frequency. In my personal opinion, do aim to post at least 3 to 5 times a week. And I think Instagram might be best for that. Every day sounds very challenging. And I know some people say you have to do it. I am an advocate for not burning yourself out. If you can do it, definitely do it. If you can do it without feeling like it's going to compromise the quality of your work, 100% go for it. TikTok is great for posting a lot, testing out a lot of concepts that you're thinking of. It's great for spam because people are just scrolling and they're just thinking they don't care if they keep seeing you 5-6 times in a row, because TikTok is brain rot at the end of the day. If you're happy to go on that platform, remember your content structure will be different to Instagram, because people on TikTok, their attention span is so short, so you need to reel them in really quickly. Then you've got Instagram. This is where I would suggest most people to go. It's very, very strong in terms of brand opportunities, because at the end of the day, all of the brands are still on Instagram. A lot of them are still hesitant to move to TikTok. I'm not sure why, to be honest. They're still probably the biggest opportunity to monetize in terms of brand deals on this platform. Instagram is great for building a personal brand, and people on the platform, they tend to follow you if they want to. They're following you because they want to support you and they want to support your journey, whereas on TikTok, they may have accidentally followed you. And I feel like it's harder to build a community there. It's not impossible, but definitely more challenging. And that's because of the user intent on these platforms. For example, this is what your platform home base could look like. You could use Instagram as your main platform. And I tell my clients all the time, if you don't have Instagram, please hop on the platform, because brands are sitting there. Say a lot of your content will be short form, and that's what you have the capacity to create. That's because you only have the capacity to create content for that platform. Now you use that short form content to repurpose it on platforms like TikTok and YouTube Shorts. I mentioned YouTube long form before, but you're going to repurpose that on short form. The next step in becoming a full-time content creator is just post, just start. Cut out all the noise. Who cares what they say? You need to get the reps in. You need to see what works. You need to start testing. This is also one of the other parts that people tend to avoid, because they're thinking, I'm cringe, no one's gonna watch. Yes, maybe you're cringe. Yes, maybe you might get 50 views or less, but that's the point of just posting, because you don't know what works and what doesn't. Going out there, practicing your craft and going, you might think that that was the best piece of content ever, and you're new to doing this. What you're going to need to do is post that content, because that's how you're going to find out if it's good only to you or if it's actually good because people are wanting to see more from you. And just like anything else in the world, if you wait till you're confident or wait till you're ready, you're never going to start. The next step is learn what works. You've been posting content, you got out of that barrier, you stopped listening to all of the voices in your head. Now what? What you need to do is look at the numbers. I know they're scary. Analytics is not everyone's best friend. You might not like the numbers. These numbers tell a very important story. Let's say you're posting 2 Get Ready With Me's. They're posted very similarly, but one does really well and one doesn't. That's why you need to see the data. Maybe one was packaged better. Maybe one, the caption was much longer. You've got more SEO, more data to feed the algorithm so that it knows who to send this content to. Or maybe one was posted during the day and one was posted during the night. And you look at all of your other videos on Get Ready With Me's and you're thinking, okay, I'm noticing a trend now. Nighttime videos are not doing that great as the day. But that's why it's important to confront the numbers. When you find out what works, double down on that. What I also want you to do is study what other creators are doing, not in the sense that you're copying them. We don't want to copy other creators. Gaining inspiration from them is very important, and just see, okay, they're doing really well. Maybe I should try to implement these tips and tricks in my videos. Now, our next step is to optimize your profile for growth. And now we're talking money. Your profile should clearly state what you do and who you help, especially in the beginning, because you want to tell people directly why they should follow you. I'll give you an example, but this is for a business page. And let's say you're a life coach. Your bio could say something along the lines of, I help women align themselves to their dream life. Immediately, you'll click on that profile, you read that one sentence, I help, and then this is what I do. Brands go, okay, she's a life coach. Or if you're a travel blogger, your bio could look something like this, teaching you how to travel on a budget. Simple and straightforward. Always have your email in your bio as well. That's how marketing agencies will find you. I've worked on so many campaigns where they wanted to work with a particular creator, and I've literally searched around the internet, even went on Google, and I couldn't find their email. Please put your email in the bio. It makes life for us marketers so much easier. Not having an email in your bio or having an option to access it is actually putting money on the table, because if they can't find your email quickly, they're probably going to look for another creator. And the content you create, please make sure that it aligns with your niche. Someone lands on your page, they have full clarity on who you are and what you stand for. Because if I go on someone's Instagram page, I'm scrolling and they're posting about 10 different things and I don't know what they're all about, then I will probably scroll away and not consider them. Optimizing your profile is so important, especially because social media is a search engine now. So if I'm searching for a travel blogger, a foodie blogger, in your name section as well, please put those keywords in. When marketing agencies are looking for you, you'll be one of the top to pop up. I'll also put in a screenshot of a few optimized profiles that I like. And you have to use the pin tool very strategically. Of course, you want to pin your best performing content, but if it doesn't relate to your niche or what you have to offer, please do not pin it. Like a little silly dance video that got 10 million views, I would not pin that, because strategically, if you're wanting brands to work with you and that's the first thing they see, they'll probably think, I don't know if this creator is suitable for us. Use the pin section as a way where it's kind of like highlighting what you can do for the brand. It's pretty much your first foot in the door. Also, your profile is your portfolio. So start making brand friendly content. When a brand does find your content, they'll go, okay, they can create this for themselves. What kind of value are they going to provide us? Think to yourself, would a brand pay for this? Is this high quality content? The next step, let's start making money. This is the juicy part here. We are not full-time content creators because we're doing it for free. At the end of the day, I know the bottom line is to make money. So how do we do that? Honestly, after being in this industry for so long, you don't need a big following to get paid. A lot of UGC creators say you need 0 followers to get paid. And I feel like there's a bit of misconception with that. That will be in another video. It is important to know the difference between UGC and influencer. I'll make a whole video on that another time. Today, we're mainly talking about influencing. I've worked and paid creators. I am not allowed to disclose how much. They've made a healthy amount of money, even with around 5,000 followers. And I can tell you now, depending on how well you package yourself, you could even land your first paid gig as an influencer, not UGC creator, with only about 500 followers, which I have personally done in the past. That mainly comes down to the quality of your content. But the hardest part about getting paid in social media is that people wait too long and people don't understand the difference between being an influencer and UGC creator and the different ways to monetize your content. People generally know of brand deals, which is one of the ways I help creators earn money, but it's not the only way. I know TikTok is very limited in this, but you can monetize through ad views, just like YouTube AdSense. The TikTok Creator Fund is one of the more popular ways that people talk about. This is mainly in the US and I think a handful of other countries. I'm based in Australia, so even if I met the requirements, I would not be eligible. How else can you get paid for ad views? YouTube, Snapchat, and Facebook. Facebook is kind of like a goldmine at the moment and people are sleeping on that. Another way that creators are making a pretty healthy income and monetizing their channels is through affiliate links. A lot of creators that I've spoken to actually make way more on affiliate marketing than they do brand deals. And of course, I can't talk about making money as an influencer if I don't talk about brand deals. Reaching out to brands as a UGC creator would probably be best way to get your foot in the door for collaborations if you're new and just starting. And that's where you create content in the tone of voice of the brand versus using your influence. People really underestimate the power of outbounds as well. Reaching out to brands, even through the DMs, is very important to landing your first deal. If you're wanting to make money, you're going to have to put in the work. I know it's a lot of work, and maybe at the start, you're going to have to reach out to heaps of brands. You're probably going to have to email a lot of them too. But especially in the beginning, it's going to be one of the best ways to find collaborations. But also remember, outbound isn't the only way. You need to also keep up with your current social media channels as well, ensuring that you're consistently posting high quality content while also reaching out to brands. Another way that influencers monetize their socials is by selling a digital course or digital product. This doesn't have to be a course on how to grow your own socials. This could be even carousel templates. I've bought so many, I probably spent a few $100 just on carousel templates alone. Creating a digital product is so lucrative because a lot of these products people genuinely need. Let's say you are a travel blogger or a foodie blogger. You can offer itineraries for people. Creating something that takes the guesswork and time out of someone else's life is so valuable, which I keep talking about. If you're also monetizing through digital products with an upsell, please make sure that's also valuable to your audience. The world is your oyster. Don't just think you can only make money through brand deals. Our next step is to treat this like a job. If you're wanting this to be your full-time career, then you have to treat it like it's one. If you're an Aussie, make sure you sign up for an ABN just so that it's legitimate. You know, okay, it's a business, I've registered for it, and I'm going to take this seriously. I feel like when you take that first step and register it as a business, you start actually seeing it like one. Learning to treat content creation and becoming an influencer like a job pretty much sets this apart from being a hobby. You should start setting a schedule. Let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday would be your filming days, and then Thursday, Friday are your editing days. You need to set in time for your admin as well. Do whatever works for you. Make sure you're actually scheduling time in to create the content and following up with admin too. And just like your 9-to-5 job, showing up to create content even when you don't feel like it is what you're going to need to do if you want to take this full time. It's just like starting a new business, showing up, putting in the reps, even when you're sitting there thinking, I am so tired, I don't want to do this. Of course, let's not burn out. There are just days you just feel so lazy and you don't want to do it. You're just going to have to force yourself to. Like Mel Robbins says, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up. This is going to be your high-level 3-month game plan on how to become a content creator full-time. First month is your introductory month, and it's all about picking your niche, learning what your goals are, why you're doing this, who you're speaking to, just posting. This is where you're going to be testing the content and seeing what works, what doesn't work. And in month 2, this is where you should start reaching out to brands. And now we talk about month 3. This is where you should start refining your content, and now you should have a good idea on what works well and what needs working on. This is where you've done a lot of outreach now. It will be time to start closing in deals. And if you do need help with that, I am going to be creating another video all about sponsorships in the future. Keep an eye out on that one. And month 3 is all about building momentum. You're still new. It's not impossible to become a full-time content creator. You're building momentum and you're growing. This month is also where you should start thinking, okay, I've reached out to a lot of brands and I've closed some deals. Let's see how else I can monetize. Should I start putting affiliate links, or should I consider creating a digital product that could help the lives of my audience? If you follow these tips for the next 3 months, you won't be posting just for the sake of it. You'll be building something that actually pays you. 3 months from now, your life could look totally different. You're still feeling a bit stuck, make sure you check out my page because I have a lot of resources on all things marketing and business building. In 3 months from now, you could be a completely different person living a completely different life. The only difference is whether or not you start.